You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WISS Daily News Roundup for Oshkosh Air Support, 98.3 FM and 1100 AM.
For 98.3 and 96.5 WISS News, I'm Lisa Hale. The FBI has confirmed that ICE agents arrested 21 people in Manitowoc yesterday. Civic Media's Connie Fellman has that story.
Officials say 9 of those arrested were targeted for suspected involvement in the sexual assault and or trafficking of minor American girls. FBI agents say all the people arrested were in the country illegally. Forward Latino, an immigrant rights group in Manitowoc, issued a statement last night saying it's reckless and harmful to connect all those detained with allegations of sex trafficking. The statement points out that some of the people arrested work in the dairy industry, helping sustain Wisconsin's family-owned dairy farms. Forward Latino's president says at a time when Wisconsin faces a severe labor shortage, we should be focused on expanding legal pathways, not tearing families apart.
New ordinances in the city of Oshkosh will be handled a little differently now. The Oshkosh Common Council voted Tuesday night to eliminate the requirement that ordinances be read at 2 separate council meetings before being voted on. City Manager Rebecca Grill.
We're trying to be more friendly with development and things like that. So with the one reading, the average is reduced by 11 days.
The Common Council waived the rules requiring a second reading of the ordinance before voting on this particular change. That waiving of the rules did not sit right with Karen Schneider, publisher of the Oshkosh Herald.
You waive the rule to waive the rules without letting that at least go through its current proper process. Give the public time to acknowledge that change or to speak on it.
Bill Leaders, president of the Wisconsin Freedom of Information Council, a group that seeks to protect public access to records, stated that municipalities are not required to offer a chance for public input on ordinances such as this.
There are some zoning decisions that public bodies are required to invite public comment on, but most of what city councils and county boards and school boards do, there is no requirement that they provide opportunities for public input, although most of them do.
Deputy Mayor Joe Stevenson said the council does a good job of allowing public input.
I don't think in this instance we're taking away any public input. We can obviously lay things over. I think we've been doing a very good job at trying to elicit more public input.
The city of Oshkosh publishes the agenda for its meetings on the Friday afternoon or evening before the meeting, which is usually held on a Tuesday. The city of Appleton will make a final decision on reinstating truancy fines during its upcoming council meeting Wednesday, October 1st at 7 p.m. The new ordinance carries a $250 fine on students who stop attending classes or who are truant for a whole year. The fine will be levied on the students, not their families. If the council approves the resolution, a 3-semester trial period will start in January. Planned Parenthood is pausing abortions in Wisconsin because of changes from the federal budget law. Savannah Tomei-Olson has the story.
The new law blocks facilities that provide abortions from receiving payments from Medicaid for 1 year. Stephanie Miller, a spokesperson for Planned Parenthood, says they serve about 50,000 people per year, providing all kinds of health care, and 3 out of every 5 are covered by Medicaid. At first, a judge said the law could not go into effect, but as the case has moved through the court system, a federal appeals judge is allowing it to move forward. The change goes into effect next Wednesday, October 1st, and that's when Planned Parenthood will pause abortions. Miller says from there, they hope to resume services soon once they figure out what to do under this new law. Plus, she says they're working to see as many patients as possible over the next few days. The last time Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin paused abortion services was when the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in June 2022, making Wisconsin's 1849 abortion ban the law of the land. They resumed abortion services a little over a year later when a Dane County judge ruled that the old law does not apply to consensual abortion. There are only 2 other clinics that provide the service in the state. They're both in Milwaukee. Data from the Society of Family Planning shows there are about 500 to 600 abortions in Wisconsin every month. For Civic Media News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
2 sites serving Wisconsin veterans who are homeless are now closed. Veterans Housing and Recovery Program sites in Green Bay and Chippewa Falls closed on September 12th due to lack of funding. Program funding was not included in the final budget compromise between Democratic Governor Tony Evers and Republican legislators. Joey Hoey with the Department of Veterans Affairs updated the state Senate committee last week. Hoey said the Joint Finance Committee's Republican majority voted on June 12th to adopt a motion that did not include the funding for VHRP, calling that, quote, a pretty terrible day. Hoey said that with the help of veterans advocates, Lutheran Social Services, and others, the Department of Veterans Affairs was able to provide all of the veterans at Green Bay and Chippewa Falls with alternative options. The committee heard support from veterans groups for a bill from State Senator Andre Jacques to provide funding, but now the earliest the sites could reopen would be about a year from now. Residents of the Fox Valley will have the opportunity to connect with their lawmakers during a virtual legislative town hall meeting Monday night. The event, hosted by the Leagues of Women Voters of Appleton, Fox Cities, and Winnebago County, will give state legislators the opportunity to outline their priorities for the current legislative session and answer questions prepared in advance and those from the audience. Pre-registration is required. Visit lwvappletonfoxcities.org and click on events to register. A local hospital group plans to build 56 townhouses at the former site of Roosevelt Elementary School on Doty Island in Neenah. The townhouses, to be built just north of the Theta Care Regional Medical Center, Neenah, will support the hospital's new physician residency program that begins in July of 2026. An Oconto Falls doctor accused of generating child pornography pleaded not guilty to federal charges against him Wednesday. The state charges against 65-year-old Isaacus Cupino were dismissed to make way for the federal charges. Assistant U.S. Attorney Tim Funnell said Cupino's trial, starting December 1st, is expected to take 3 to 4 days. If he's convicted, Cupino faces up to 60 years in prison. We have a new date and a location for the NEW Pride Alive Festival. It was originally set for September 19th at the Brown County Fairgrounds, but due to safety concerns in a, quote, increasingly charged political climate, it was postponed. It will now be held Sunday, November 2nd at the Oneida Casino Hotel. The Packers will be playing Dallas Sunday, but the team is inviting fans to a fan huddle in Ireland tomorrow, in Dublin to be exact. And yes, the Packer fandom does spread that far. The huddle will be hosted by the founder of the UK Packers fan club and popular Packers podcaster Stephen O'Brien. The event will feature special guest and former Packers running back Ryan Grant, who will meet and take photos with the Packers fans at a pub in Dublin. Attendees will enjoy a taste of Wisconsin with fan favorite foods inspired by a traditional Packers tailgate. The event in Dublin is one of several Packers Huddles events in Europe this fall, with later dates scheduled in London and Berlin. The Huddles are part of the team's effort to build the brand globally in conjunction with NFL's Global Markets program. I'm Lisa Hale for 98.3 and 96.5 WISS News. For news anytime, visit WISS.FM.
The boys are back in town. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball tonight. The Brewers host the Cincinnati Reds. In the final weekend of the regular season, Quinn Priester on the mound for Milwaukee. They've won 19 games in a row whenever he's pitched. Third baseman, Caleb Durbin.
There's something about just the way he looks, the way he composes himself, body language. It's easy to feed off of as far as playing defense behind him, but I think that's why he's so successful out there right now is he's just competing like a bulldog, and it's easy to tell.
NFL, the Packers play the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, but Dallas will be without their top wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, out the next 3 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Xavier McKinney.
You know, he's a playmaker on the offense, and he's one of the, the best players that they have on their team. So obviously, him not being out there is going to have an effect. But I think they're still going to run a lot of, what they usually run. And it's going to be a next man up type of mentality.
That's the Packers safety, Xavier McKinney. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Imagine you are part of a hit TV show and the line from the show that fans quote when they see you involves yelling, "No, no," in your face. That is what life has been like for former The Office showrunner Paul Lieberstein. The yelling is in reference to Lieberstein's character Toby, who returns to work much to the dismay of his adversary, Michael Scott, played by Steve Carell, who shouts, "No, no," in Toby's face. It's worth a Google. The writer-actor recently spoke at the Paley Museum about its new exhibit for The Office. During his appearance, Lieberstein mentioned the new spin-off, The Paper. He is one of the writers on the new show and said he would be open to appearing on the show as an actor if it made sense. At the moment, Oscar Nunez, who played Oscar, is the only cast member from The Office on The Paper. I've seen the pilot of The Paper, and here's my advice. Bring back all The Office characters. In Nepo Baby news, Sawyer Spielberg, yes, relation, has signed on to play the lead in a new film called Once Upon a Time in Hell's Kitchen, according to Variety. The film is based on Colin Broderick's book of the same name. The young Spielberg most recently appeared in Materialists, opposite Dakota Johnson and Pedro Pascal. The 33-year-old actor is the son of director Steven Spielberg and actress Kate Capshaw, and will also executive produce the project. For what it's worth, he is a well-trained actor, but yeah, I'm sure the last name has opened a few doors. It took a screwball comedy to bring the hilarious Rick Moranis out of retirement. The Honey, I Shrunk the Kids star has announced that he will be part of Spaceballs 2, where he will reprise his role as Dark Lord Helmet in the sequel to the 1987 original. According to Variety, Amazon MGM Studios has announced that production is underway and the film should hit theaters in 2027. Better Spaceballs 2 for a comeback than another Honey, I Shrunk sequel. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Partly cloudy today with a high in the upper 60s to low 70s this afternoon. Tonight, mostly clear. Could see a little fog overnight. Our low in the 50s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high in the 70s to near 80. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Currently, it is 60.
That's your WISS Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WISS.FM. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.